collection sizes will increase as well, meaning you can expect the Pioneers collection to be larger than the Explorers, and the Settlers collection would be larger than the Pioneers. And the reason is we do this is, there's a bunch of reasons, but one of the main reasons because this is a gameplay, and unlike any other on-chain gameplay, we want to make sure that we launch with the right game theory and mechanics. So launching with a 500 collection will allow us to test the gameplay as we launch. And not only that, it ties in with the different narrative that we want to introduce into the game as well. Yeah, so all these are interconnected, and as the gameplay expands, there will be different elements that we'll be infusing that give the Pioneers and Settlers collection a different age and a different mission and angle to make the game even more interesting for everyone. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that. Ed, do you have any follow-up questions or anything else you'd like to ask?
No, I'm good. I'll ask again later if I have any. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Ed. Thank you to all 16 people we have in our audience right now. Guys, again, the floor is open for questions. You can ask it on audio like our friend Ed just did now, or you can send your questions to the Y2123 AMA channel chat just above. Okay, let's go to our question from Sir Bees, and also there's a question from Joyce that we will ask after. But first, Sir Bees wants to know what kind of game would it be. Shankar, Keith, any of you can answer this.
Yeah, I can take a step at this as well, and then maybe Shankar can take the next one on why Ethereum. Alright, so yeah, a quick blurb of our game is it's gonna be an innovative on-chain player versus environment game where it's a play to earn, and where it's different is players in our game will complete missions to battle against climate change. And when they complete these missions, of course, there will be a game win-lose probability. And if they do so and win, they'll win oxygen tokens in the process. So all this is on-chain. We're going to be introducing a collaborative protocol that's going to be quite unique. So yeah, really looking forward to share more of these. We are right now really working as hard as possible to finish up all the tiny details on the white paper. And we are aiming to publish it very soon.
Awesome. I'm sure many of us are looking forward to that. Okay, Shankar, would you want to take a stab on this next one? From Joyce, why choose Ethereum?
Oh yeah, sure. Let me take that. Thank you for the question. It's a very good question, and I think it's very valid. Especially if you look today, the Ethereum gas fees are really, really high. And I think it begs the question, like, why choose Ethereum when you can choose other blockchains such as Solana or even Cardano, and you can have like low transaction fees? Well, actually the reason behind our decision was because we actually started our project on Solana and we were building our tech stack on Solana, but we came across a lot of roadblocks as we felt while doing our development the ecosystem on blockchains outside of Ethereum were not really mature enough to actually support the game mechanics and the gameplay that we have in mind to build. So after like 2 months in, we had to make a really hard decision, and we had to decide to either stay on the existing ecosystem and scale up our engineering, or choose Ethereum where the development ecosystem is more mature and more stable for us to actually implement all our game features that we have in mind to build. So it was a very hard decision, but a really necessary one. And outside of the technical aspect as well, we were also considering the whole NFT market space as a whole, where we see that the market is very focused on Ethereum. Like in the beginning, when NFT were coming to Solana, it was quite hype, and everyone went to Solana for a while. But eventually, everyone sort of shift focus and went back to Ethereum, as Ethereum is still the dominant player in the NFT space. And so, the project of our scale and the ambition that we have, we really want to capitalize on the Ethereum ecosystem. Yep, I hope that answers your question.
Awesome. Thank you for that. All right. overall, though, given the current state of NFTs, because compared to even just a few weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, it feels like the staying power for new projects nowadays don't have as long a lifeline rather, or maybe it's hard nowadays to stay relevant for so long, especially because, like we mentioned earlier, there's so many new projects coming up left and right. So, what about your project makes you feel confident, or rather, what about your project do you hope would make collectors and those buying NFTs want to hold this long term and really look forward to being part of this new system that you guys are trying to build? Anyone, if you can answer the question.
Wow, I love this question. Well, honestly, it's something that we ask ourselves every day as well. And it's really a learning process for us even to figure out who is our target audience and why would someone want to hold our NFTs, right? Because the space moves so fast, like you said, there's so many great projects out there. I really love our art, but every other day I see another project that has great art or even greater art. So really, there's so many facets to why would someone want to buy into a project. And I can list a few, right? So one of it is team. So between Shankar and myself, we're really in this for the long haul. I have done a startup myself before and had an exit. So I know what it takes to build a successful project. And we do have our networks of investors and advisors that want to support us and back us in the long term as well. And just to share this with the audience here, both me and Shankar, we are in pretty decent jobs, but we have decided to go full time into this, and we have actually already resigned, and we are starting full time in January. So we are actually serving on notice here. So we are in this for the long haul. This is not some kind of a short-term project or side gig that we do. So that's number one. We really want to build this, and we have a long-term roadmap and plans to back it up. And we have, backed it up with decisions on our career as well. And the other is really where we see ourselves and why our community resonates with our project. And that is the whole angle of our game narrative and how it connects to our mission of giving back to climate impact. So if you look at our website, one of the things that we actively do is to find non-profit in the climate space. So for example, projects that give back through coral restoration or do activities like societal uplift to bring education or even waste management kind of a technology to less fortunate areas. These are projects that we actively look out for and partner to work out with them a kind of long-term partnership. And this is really our mission for the project. So to explain it in a one-liner, what we really want to do here is to be like a Warby Parker or like a TomToms for blockchain games, where our business model is embedded into giving back to non-profit projects. And we want to do this in a sustainable long-term way rather than a one-off charity donation like many other blockchain projects or NFT projects. And this is really because this is something that's close to the founding team, and something that we really believe that this is really the way to go to make a sustained, strong impact to the urgency that we are facing in the climate impact space. So we are really positioning ourselves to be a project that's doing this, and at the same time focusing on delivering strong art and a very innovative tech-driven game. And hopefully all these different facets of the project will help us to bring in the target audience that we want to attract and keep within the community. And judging from the response of the community so far, I think it's working. But of course, we are still in a stage where we're hustling, working on the product. And this is really a very early stage of us getting out there to start to market and ramp up our efforts. So it's really something that we are very happy to be able to share with the Asian Mint community. But I hope this is a long-winded way of saying and explaining why we are different. It's really that combination of making sure that the game is fun, backed by strong art, and then connecting all this to actual tangible climate impact projects and giving back sustainably to them, that I believe makes us very different. And one fun fact is, actually on our advisory board, we actually do have a marine biologist scientist who's our advisor. And how she's advising us is when we have enough funds from our tokens or from our sale, she will actually advise us to review and shortlist different non-profit projects and then share these non-profit projects that has been approved by her to then let the community vote for which ones to fund. So we are taking this very seriously. We're not just making a centralized decision on who to fund. We're actually letting the community participate, but through an expert panel who has done this in their day job as a marine biologist scientist. And this scientist has been also featured by Vice News, featured on newspapers a couple of times, and is a TEDx speaker. So this is something that we take very seriously, and we hope is something that resonates with our NFT buyers and our game players.
Awesome, that sounds so great. It always definitely helps too when the team behind the project is dedicated not just to, obviously anyone behind an NFT project would like some reward for their hard work and some, appreciation and some satisfaction from all the hard work, some sense of fulfillment. But it's great that you guys also want to share this with nonprofit orgs and kind of help out, and it's in line with the theme you guys have, which is give back to this world. Speaking of giving back now, let's get to a question from Grimhouse because this could be interesting. Do you have plans on onboarding influencers or personalities that will help promote the project? Any specifics?
Great question. So like I said, we are trying to get the word out of what we're working on right now. So we are in the process of looking at YouTubers and Twitter influencers, but of course we need to make sure that these folks also understand what we're trying to do and pitch our project correctly as well. I think that's a very important thing. So right now, to be specific, we are looking at a few YouTubers who and discussing some collaboration with them where they can potentially feature our project. We have shortlisted a couple of Twitter influencers, but between those two, we are focusing more on the YouTubers where we have a bit of airtime, or the YouTuber has a bit of airtime to explain what our game mechanic is about. Because we believe, as the space changes so fast again, and in the new phase of excitement now of NFT gaming, we believe that this is going to be something that will really differentiate us. There are many projects out there that came up after Wolf Game that is very similar but different. But what we're going to be introducing will be radically different, and we are very excited to share this. But we want to make sure that we are working with the right YouTubers who can explain this correctly. Yeah, so I hope that is specific enough without going too deep into the specific person or influencer. Yeah, Grimhouse, thanks for the question.
Awesome. Thank you for that question. That was from Grimhouse. Great. So we want to say hello to our friend Metaman, who is now also in this AMA right now. And hello to all 19 people in the audience. Metaman has a question. Metaman, would you want to ask it on audio? Okay, he typed it. Is it going to be a blockchain-based game like Wolf Game or Ether Orcs, or is it going to be a full game like Axie Infinity?
Cool. Shankar, you want to take this?
Yeah, sure. So we are actually aiming for something in the middle. So it's going to be mostly on-chain game where all the mechanics and the gameplay happen on-chain, trackable on the blockchain. And then we are going to have certain elements that are generated off-chain. So for example, maybe the weather system or the missions or the tasks that can be done in the game probably will be generated off-chain. And then most of the things that you're doing, trackable, will be on the blockchain. So it's going to be a hybrid. And actually, mechanics aside, what we are really focusing on is actually to build a very, very interesting and fun gameplay. So that beats everything else. That takes the front seat. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you for that question, that answer, Shankar, and thank you, Metaman, for the question. If you have any follow-up questions, do not hesitate to ask it. And of course, again, the floor is open for anyone to ask questions, either on audio or on the Y2123 AMA channel chat. I believe we're waiting on some questions here. So while we're waiting for more people to ask their curiosities, Keith, Shankar, maybe a little more life-related question. Like, have you guys slept less since, with your launch on December 19 coming up soon? How has it changed your lifestyle, this experience? Tell us more about that part of it.
I've been practically sleeping about 4 to 6 hours on average every day. So most of the time I'm working on the smart contract because we are very deep into the technical side of things now, and I have to be the person who oversees the whole technical implementation. So really it's a lot of sleepless nights, and I have this new habit of overeating because I'm stressed and I eat a lot, so I put on some weight as well.
Oh no, that makes the both of us.
No, it's okay. Everybody loves to eat, right? Okay, we got a question here from Joyce, which is pretty good actually. What are your plans to attract non-crypto users to join the community of your project?
Keith, you can take this one.
Oh man, I love this question. I mean, this is really gonna be okay. So actually, this is a tricky question because being a blockchain game, you have to get through the onboarding of setting up your MetaMask wallet, getting loaded on some of the tokens that's needed to be able to join the project. But really, our long-term vision is of course to be able to attract more users, and this include non-crypto, non-native users to adopt crypto because of us. And the idea here is to use the angle of being able to contribute in a very transparent way to our non-profit partners. This is really coming back to my point earlier about the convergence of DeFi, gaming, and charity, where everything is on-chain, trackable, what the team is committing, what we're trying to do with our funds and allocation of funds to charity. All these are trackable, and this is really what both of us love about the space and what our team really rallies behind. So the plan here, to be specific, is to work with more non-profit partners. We actually want to work with less famous ones, because I think the famous non-profit folks like your WWFs and the likes usually have no shortage of funds and donors. But what we're really trying to do is to work with less popular non-profit partners in underserved areas and use this to then partner with magazines and other MNCs who are also in this narrative of contributing and giving back to climate, and raise awareness for our project and game. And the idea here is to bring forth a project where through playing a game you can play to earn as well as give back to climate impact. And right now we actually have plans to launch with a magazine partner that is regional in the early 2022. So that will give us then further access to some of the organizations and corporations, the Fortune 1000 companies that work with that magazine. So that might give you a bit of hints of that magazine already, but through that relationship, hopefully this will bring up more awareness of our project and how blockchain gaming and play to earn can be used for good, and bring in non-crypto users to be onboarded into the blockchain world, and of course not just play our game but other games that's on offer as well.
Awesome. That sounds great. Okay, you have already mentioned the play to earn function of it. So that's one way for holders of your NFT to make a profit by holding the art that they will get from you, what they minted, or maybe what they buy off OpenSea. But are there other utility planned for holders, like perhaps maybe a free airdrop sometime down the line for them to get if they hold their NFT? Of course, we've discussed how there are 500 Genesis NFTs. Do you see that number going up in the future? If yes, by how many? And so that's the first question. And then the second question I want to ask is, we've seen a lot of projects start with a lot of momentum, a lot of excitement, a lot of anticipation. And once the paper hands, especially those who list their NFTs below minting price, start and becomes a race to the bottom, we sometimes see a lot of devs kind of get demoralized and leave all their dreams, all of their plans they plan to do. So number one, the first question again, what are the other utility you have planned? And number two, what kind of security can the people who invest in your NFTs get in terms of you sticking through even the tough times?
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I can answer the first one, and maybe Shankar can tag on for the second question as well. So for the first one, whether there's any airdrop and future collection size. Yes, so the future collection sizes will be larger. So actually this Genesis collection, to share a bit more detail, is part of a larger 10,000 collection. So the Pioneers and Settlers will in total make up 10,000 along with the Genesis collection of 500. And along the way, we are exploring some airdrops, but it's not. We will not reveal, until that stage is finalized, because all these will be weaved into the gameplay and how we want to launch the game in different phases. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. In the larger collection is going to be 10,000 for the first one, and that starts with a Genesis collection of 500 with rarity traits that's only available to the Genesis collection. So this would be definitely the most rare, not one of the most rare, but definitely the most rare, followed by future collections. But as you all know, with blockchain games, 10,000 NFTs isn't enough. So there will be future collections, but that collection size will be released in different phases. And the reason why is actually related to your second question, right? Which is, what happens if there's a race to the bottom, and how do we keep the excitement and the momentum up? So a short sidetrack of why we are doing this is because, when we first started in the NFT space about 2-3 months ago, we were trying to learn from all the very established and successful NFT projects, right? Like Bored Yacht Club, of course CryptoPunks, and of course Uninterested Unicorns was a very good case study for us to learn a lot as well. But then came projects like Nouns DAO and all these other DAO projects, and then recently there's this new wave of NFT, on-chain gaming, and of course in between there's all your Sandbox, Decentraland. So what we've really learned is there is no rule book. You can learn as much, and to some extent many other projects copy from other projects. But even with all this learning and copying, ultimately what we've learned is there is no rule book that determines whether your project succeeds or fails. And what we did in the last 1 month is really to come back to our roots of building a solid art project built on a game with solid gameplay to really support it. And therefore, to answer your question, right, what happens if there's a race to bottom? How do we keep the momentum up? And that is why we really want to have our own very unique roadmap and really focus on under-promising and over-delivering. And therefore, we want to launch these different gameplays and collections in different phases. So this is our own strategy of making sure that as we launch the gameplay in different phases, and starting with a very bite-sized piece of 500, we can keep the interest and momentum up. And as more buyers and players come into our game and buy our NFTs, that gameplay expands accordingly, and interest and excitement will always be kept high, because there'll be new gameplay, there'll be new twists, new missions, and new ways to win more tokens.
Awesome. It seems like you guys really thought of everything. I thought that maybe I'd try sending some questions your way to pause you guys a little bit, but hey, it seems like you guys are prepared and you have thought this through, and that's awesome. Okay, I want to say hello to the 18 people who are listening to this AMA right now, thank you so much for spending your Wednesday evenings with us, wherever in the world you are from. And again, I want to mention the floor is open for questions. You can come up and ask the question on the stage, or you can send the question on the Y2123 AMA chat. So if anyone has a question, all you gotta do is raise your hand or send it to the chat, and we will have our guests today answer them. All right. So while we're waiting for that, let's think future here. Try to envision, let's say about 1 year from now, Keith and Shankar, where do you envision, number one, your project, and number two, the NFT/crypto space in general? Let's hear from Shankar to start.
Wow, what a very visionary question. I can not imagine what 1 month in the future will be for crypto, let alone 1 year. It's so far-fetched. But yeah, I'll try to imagine what 1 year will be like. So 1 year, I think as more and more people are into digital lifestyle and everything converges into your digital identity, I think more and more people will take NFT seriously. NFT is sort of your digital flex of your identity online, and if the metaverse is realized in the short term, I guess probably in the next 1 year, everybody will be citizens of a metaverse, right? And in this metaverse, I believe crypto will be the dominant technology, because it provides the technology for you to actually participate in the metaverse, where your identity and your transactions and everything can be done in a very safe, secure manner, without putting too much pressure on centralized tech companies. So I believe that in the future, for us as a company, as a gaming NFT project, we want to be in the metaverse with all of you. We want to have our presence, our products, and our games alive in the metaverse, where everybody can interact, play, and communicate in a very constructive way. That's at least how I imagine the future 1 year. Keith, maybe you can have your imagination.
I'm so glad you answered first, and I got some time to think. Well, yeah, I think it's really, really hard to predict because the space moves so fast. But I think one thing that I can say for sure is a lot more consumer brands will be coming into the blockchain space. You know, be it metaverse or not, right? There's so many ways to slice this, or rather use this technology. So I really think more brands will come into the blockchain space, either as a form of NFTs, and they can use the NFTs as a proof to get certain benefits in the brand, or it could be something in the metaverse. And I think that is really the near-term future that I see that will happen. And yeah, like what Shankar said, the flex will now happen online because we will be spending so much more time online, and what this means for all of us is then our online identity will become something that we want to be able to verify. And Twitter is really starting to do this, and we will see a lot more, brands and influencers do this for their own personal branding as well. So Facebook has taken its first step here, but we haven't seen a lot more movement from the other platforms. So I think this is where the shift will come in the next 1 year. So this is going to be really exciting for all of us here who are super early in this space. We'll have a lot of head start compared to our friends who are not here yet, and we'll then be able to be the experts and advise people on what kind of projects to buy, how to use our NFTs. And I think what's really exciting is not so much of what's going to happen for us. I think all of us here early will definitely make it. But more importantly, what this means for all of you here and your friends and family who are not here yet. Really, really excited to see what will happen in the next 1 to 2 years.
Fantastic. Now we have a question here from Joyce. Do you have ideas to balance the game to avoid creating a pay-to-win game environment? It's a broad topic, but I just wanted to get your insights about it. Any of you?
Yeah, interesting question. So, So I'm guessing pay to win here is defined as, for example, if you own more NFTs or if you buy more tokens, that will increase your probability of winning and thereby earning you even more tokens. So Joyce, correct me if I'm wrong, but if my assumption is correct, then so I'm going to reveal a bit more of the game, but really this is I think something that we want to share for the benefit of the folks here who join us on this Wednesday evening. So how we're going to create this a fair game environment is to build something where we take references from scientists, from projections that climate advisors are putting out, and put this as references to our gameplay. And what this means is, with the different missions and elements in our game, these will be based on certain probabilities that will happen in real life. For example, a mission of doing something in the environment, the likelihood of a success. Scientists usually have such an answer in their data sheets. So it's not something where you can game and create a situation where if you own more tokens, it will give you the higher probability. We want to create a game where it's fun, it's referenced with something that people can relate to, as well as we expand out the game. I'm also sharing a bit further into our roadmap, but we will have. There are reasons why we have flags on our characters' shoulders. I guess I'll just leave it as that. And those flags will have future elements in our gameplay. So these will hopefully balance everything out. But that being said, we can never prevent 100% certain scenarios and gaming situations where we may have made a mistake with the game theory or game mechanics. So when that happens, we'll just have to regroup and tweak our algorithms accordingly.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing even more than what your roadmap reveals before tonight. Fantastic. All right, let me get the channel here. Yes, Joyce, you are very welcome. Joyce says thank you for the answer. Shankarji, thank you for that. Yes, Ed, you have a question?
Yeah, I had a follow-up since we're still talking about the game. You mentioned, it was mentioned that it will be released after sellout. Was that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, you mean the 500?
Yeah, after the 500.
After 500, alright. So I'm assuming since it would be in 3 separate collections, it's like going to be an upgrade on the game every collection, right? Like it would get bigger and bigger.
Yes,
like
exactly.
A DLC maybe or something like that, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Then would it be website or app based?
Oh, so it'll be website browser based.
Browser based.
Yep.
Okay. And since while you guys are here, because I checked on your Discord, I couldn't find any teaser of the game yet or any exclusive sneak peek you have for the Asian Mint Fam, or too much to add?
Oh, so we do have a game narrative teaser, but it's not exactly how that game map would look like. But yeah, I can share that game narrative teaser in the channel.
All right, appreciate it. Just wanted the Asian Mint family to get more interested with what you have in store. So
cool.
And I think it would be nice for everyone. Really.
Cool. Yep. Let me just do that now.
Awesome. So while we're waiting for that, would like to mention again, if anyone asks any other questions, we're a few minutes away from closing tonight's AMA. Thank you to everyone who tuned in, especially those who stayed the entire way, of course. Seeing some familiar faces in our crowd today. Hello to Dom. Dom, what's up, bro? Always nice to see JC as well. Metaman, of course. And Marcel is here too. Hi, Marcel, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. And of course, thank you for the questions. Thank you to Joyce for the questions. Thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight. Okay, let's see. Yes, Dom says just listening while doing homework. This kid, man, look at him. So progressive in life. Haha. Okay, so if you guys look at the Y2123 AMA channel thread right now, you will see a preview of the game narrative teaser, which is in line with what our fine gentlemen have been discussing about today. Two scientists looking to save the world. Amazing, amazing. It looks great. How does everyone feel about it? Let us know in the comment section. Keith, Shankar, maybe some context about what was just posted right now?
Sure. Context on the picture, you mean? You mean the game
Yes,
teaser?
yes.
Oh, okay.
The teaser just now, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really creating this environment where we want our players to imagine that this is 100 years into the future, right? Because right now all you're hearing in the news is, the 1.5 degrees Celsius and how going above, beyond that threshold would result in a few meters or a few centimeters rise in, seawater and how this might impact the city. But this is a projection of the next, 20 to 30 years. But imagine 100 years what would happen if we really don't do enough about it today. So what you can see in the teaser is, the Statue of Liberty. This is based on an imagined geography of Manhattan. So actually, Statue of Liberty is in between three different suburbs. And over here, Statue of Liberty is really submerged in the water, and there are different floating cities around it because, you have lost your homes nearby, right? So you need to move somewhere. You either move to higher ground or you move to a floating city. And this is what we imagined would happen. People will be moving to floating cities. And at the same time, we would still, as humans, find ways to survive and thrive, right? So we will be building different buildings on these floating cities, and there will be new technologies like drones will become so advanced, will be helping us to do things. And so this is really what we're trying to bring out and tease out through this teaser. And of course, the two characters there are the citizen scientists who day jobs in that future narrative. They may be software engineers, they may be marketing professionals, but really it's really just overlooking their homes and thinking about how they can make the world better again, reclaim some of these areas lost to help some of the animals lost to extinction. This is the story that we want to bring out, and when players start to get engaged and go into our gameplay, all these different narrative and ideas will kind of connect the dots and make sense.
I have an important question. Like, from these two scientists looking to save the Statue of Liberty, which is Keith and which is Shankar?
Yeah, great question. I guess I'm the one with the green backpack. Shankar's the one in front.
Because my kids or my grandkids, because I'll be dead by 100 years after they invent a longevity potion.
Awesome. Alright, so we got some final questions here before we call it a night. First from MetaMan again. If you're going to compare your game to any genre available right now, what will it be? Is it going to be an RPG, a puzzle game, a mystery solving? Let's start with Shankar this.
Okay, interesting question, but I can't reveal too much of the game. But I would say the best combination of the game would be mystery and puzzle solving.
Okay, mystery and puzzle solving. That sounds good. Keith, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'm not sure if player versus environment is one of the things, but definitely puzzle solving, and there'll be a certain element of battling against the environment and gameplay, and those will be the missions that will be available. Yeah, so yeah.
Great. Okay, let's get to a question here from Sir Bates too. Will it be a 3D game? And if yes, with what framework are you working? Unity, UE4? Keith, maybe you could answer this one first.
Cool. So yeah, I actually wanted to jump to this question, but unfortunately, no, it won't be a 3D game at the beginning. We do have some ideas down the road to explore this, but at the moment, creating a 3D game is gonna be a AAA kind of effort, and we are very realistic with what we are working with our budgets as well. So in the future, maybe a huge maybe, but right now it will be an on-chain game, so 2D.
Alright, thank you for that information. Question here from Grimhouse. Who is in charge of the storyline or lore of the game? Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I would say it's both of us, because both Shankar and myself are very passionate about this, and on top of that, we actually also work very closely with our scientist advisor who help us to really imagine the world of that future. So yeah, I would say it's really a team effort. The rest of our teammates also do contribute as well. So yeah, it's really a team effort. Because all of us are very passionate about this whole narrative.
I sincerely believe that passion is the key to many of the fun things in life, and based on the conversation today, you guys seem to feel really passionate about this. You have plans of what's in store. And in behalf of the Asian Mint, I would like to thank you both, Keith and Shankar, for what was a delightful AMA. I'd like to thank everyone who tuned in tonight as well. Always a great time to chat with the Asian Mint community and family. So before we go though, Keith, Shankar, would you guys like to say some final words, some details about what's to come for the launch and why people should be excited about this? Let's start with you, Shankar.
Yeah, I guess Keith is the best person to answer this. So I will say that on my side, I will really say that our game is going to be very unique. It's going to be very fun, and it's going to be something that is not what you see out there. And yeah, so stay tuned, and it's going to take you on a ride.
Totally agree with Shankar. But some minor details is do look out for our launch. We have finalized our launch date. It's going to be on December 19th, and again the collection will be a very limited of 500 Genesis NFTs from the Explorer collection, and these 500 NFTs will have unique traits that will only be available in this Genesis collection. So that will give it certain benefits and even value when it's out in the market. And the time for launch will be 11 a.m. EST. So do look out for that. And thanks again, Nabs and Ed, for having us here. Thanks for having us and asking all these questions. Really very happy to be amongst the Asian Mint community today.
Hey, thanks, Matt. Thanks, Ed. It's really fun chatting here on the Asian Mint community.
Absolutely. We're thankful to the both of you as well. And guys, if you haven't yet, follow Y2123, their project on Twitter, on social media. Check them out on Discord. Ed posted the link to their Discord. If you scroll up the channel text, maybe Ed will post that again. We will see. Follow them on the Discord channel. Follow them on Twitter. Reach out to Keith or Shankar if you guys have any questions. Okay, that is a wrap for tonight. Keith, Shankar, and everybody who tuned in, thank you. Have a blessed night, everybody. Stay safe and chill responsibly. Good night, everybody.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. Good night, everyone.